I mean, what I want the most and what I think I'm most terrified of is not having somebody to go through the experience with. Is not having, I've never really wanted to have kids, but I have wanted to have a partner, partner in crime, somebody to make a life with, somebody to fall in love with, to care about, somebody who you were going to tell stories with. And that I'm afraid of not finding. I'm afraid that people will be afraid of me or afraid of the disease, and that's scary. I vacillate between, like, oh, I'm giving up on dating, I'm giving up on finding people, and I'm going to go back to just worrying about work and loving work. And I realize that that's a cop-out. That if I want to feel alive, then, and my bargain, I think my bargain is going to be, if I want something good and I want something beautiful, if I want to feel alive, then I'm going to have to live constantly with risk. And I can't shut the door on that, and I can't pretend it's not happening, and I can't deal with it with violence. Like I have to take risk as a daily risk and vulnerability as a daily companion, and not try to cover them up with, drinking and this and that. And it's got to be, it's like somebody out on a great adventure. You have to be, I think of this analogy. A friend of mine is a sculptor, and he was working in a traditional foundry in Mexico. And he said, when you work in a traditional foundry and your sculpture comes out, it ends up with these fine little cracks and lines and failures. And he said, the closer you are to failure, the more potential for beauty there is. The closer you are to that risk and that falling apart and that not turning out, the greater your chance for something amazing and surprising to happen to you. And he doesn't want to have a foundry that's going to put out perfect cookie cutter statues for him. He said just the right amount of imperfection is what keeps me going. That is where the excitement is. That is where the beauty is. And so I keep thinking about that, of being, I don't want the perfect mold. I want to be right up on the edge of trouble. And if you finally realize that searching for happiness and that perfection and all of those things aren't going to give you that, then you can tolerate a little bit of pain. You can tolerate a little bit of fear, and you can tolerate a little bit of uncertainty. Mm-hmm. And so I guess I want to I want to figure out how to tolerate with grace, or embrace it, I guess. Which, there's like the material problems of dealing with a disease, and then there's this whole other journey that is my own religious experience, you could say, And I never thought I would say that about a chronic illness, but it has been a strangely religious experience. So I haven't really traveled too far from my roots, I guess, but.